Hello everyone, I'm Jayashri. Welcome to my channel and to this tutorial for the crochet fringe top. This tutorial is for a size medium to fit a bust of 36 to 38 inches. We'll begin with the yoke, and this top is worked in the top down in the round method. We begin at the yoke, at the top of the yoke, working our way, and then we separate the armholes from the front and back body. We continue down the body of the top, and at that point we fasten off depending on the length we'd like. We fasten off, cut off the excess yarn, and we add the fringe to the top. The yarn that I'm using for this top is a lace weight yarn. Generally, the lace weight yarns are slightly difficult to work with in that they are more tedious to work with and need a bit of patience. However, for this top I did double up on the yarn, so we'll be using 2 skeins or 2 balls of yarn at any given time, and we'll use it as 2 strands of yarn. You'll see that just by doubling up the yarn, this lace weight yarn, it makes it rather easy working with it. And let's get on with it. Hope you enjoy this tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe for more tutorials from this channel. So for this project, we'll be working with 2 balls of yarn at any given time. So that's a strand from the first ball of yarn and the strand from the next. Then it's with the 2 strands together, form a slip knot. Chain 136. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Continue to 136 chains. I now have 136 chains. So we'll now join the first chain to the last chain, and to do that, make sure that this entire chain is not twisted. Insert the hook into that first chain. Then it's yarn over and pull through both the loops on the hook. Round 1, chain 4. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Chain 4 counts as a triple crochet. And for this pattern, we'll be making use mostly of triple crochets. So round 1, we'll triple crochet into all chains. So to triple crochet, it's yarn over twice, insert the hook into the chain, pull up a loop, then it's yarn over, go through 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, go through 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, go through 2 loops on the hook. So again, it's yarn over twice, insert the hook into that chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, go through 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, go through 2 loops on the hook. Continue with triple crochets to the end of the round. I'm at the end of round 1. Here I'll join by slip stitching into the 4th chain from chain 4. Before moving on to round 2, I need to place 4 stitch markers along the yoke. So my first stitch marker goes into that chain 4. I haven't placed it as yet. I'll place it in the next round. Then it skip the next 33 stitches, and into the next stitch place the 2nd stitch marker. Skip the next 33 stitches, and into the next stitch place the 3rd stitch marker. Skip the next 33 stitches, and into the next stitch place the 4th stitch marker. We then have 33 stitches back to our first stitch marker. Round 2, chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Chain 6 counts as a triple crochet and chain 2. Then it's into the same stitch from where chain 6 comes out of. Work a triple crochet. So our first stitch marker goes into that chain 2 space. The stitch pattern for round 2 is chain 1, skip 1 stitch, and into the next stitch triple crochet. So it's chain 1, skip 1 stitch, into the next stitch triple crochet. Continue with chain 1, skip 1, triple crochet to the 2nd stitch marker. I'm at the 2nd stitch marker, and I have a stitch just before the one that's marked by the stitch marker. So it's remove the stitch marker, then it's chain 1, and into that stitch marked by the stitch marker we'll work a triple crochet, chain 2, triple crochet, all into that 1 stitch. Replace the stitch marker into that chain 2 space. So then continue with the pattern, chain 1, skip 1, triple crochet to the next stitch marker, where you'll do the same, working a triple crochet, chain 2, triple crochet into the stitch, replacing the stitch marker into the chain 2 space. Do the same at the 4th stitch marker, and in between work the chain 1, skip 1, triple crochet. Continue to the end of the round. I'm at the end of round 2 with 1 stitch to go. So it's chain 1, and here I'll slip stitch into the 4th chain from chain 6. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, into that 4th chain, slip stitch to join. Round 3, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Chain 4 counts as a triple crochet and always does throughout the pattern. For round 3, I'll triple crochet into all stitches and into all chain 1 spaces. However, at the chain 2 spaces, those 4 spaces marked by the stitch markers, I'll work a triple crochet, chain 2, triple crochet, and I'll replace the stitch marker into that chain 2 space again. So I'm at the first chain 2 space, so into that space I'll work a triple crochet, chain 2, triple crochet, and I'll replace that stitch marker into the chain 2 space I've just worked. Then it's a triple crochet into the next stitch, a triple crochet into the chain 1 space. So continue with triple crochets into the stitches and the chain 1 spaces to the next stitch marker, where you'll work a triple crochet, chain 2, triple crochet into that chain 2 space, replacing the stitch marker into the chain 2 space. Do the same at the remaining stitch markers, and in between work triple crochets into the stitches and chain 1 spaces. I'm at the end of round 3, so to join, it's slip stitch into the chain 4 from the start. Round 4, chain 4, 2, 3, 4, and here I'll turn. So in this round I'll triple crochet all stitches at the chain 2 spaces marked by the stitch markers. Again, I'll work a triple crochet, chain 2, triple crochet, replacing the stitch markers into the chain 2 spaces. So here it's triple crochet into all stitches. Continue to the end of the round. Just remember to work those triple crochet, chain 2, triple crochet into the chain 2 spaces, the ones marked by the stitch markers. I've completed round 4 by slip stitching into the chain 4 from the start. Here at the chain 2 space from the previous round or the round before, you see it clearly that I've worked stitches, triple crochets into those triple crochets in between the chain 2 spaces as well. So it's a triple crochet into every stitch and every chain 1 space. Round 5, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Chain 5 counts as a triple crochet and chain 1. Because I turned in round 4, I'll turn again in round 5. Then it's skip 1 stitch and into the next stitch work a triple crochet. I'm now at the chain 2 space, so it's a chain 1, and into that chain 2 space work a triple crochet, chain 2, triple crochet into that space, replace the stitch marker into the chain 2 space. Notice that here I've worked a double crochet into that triple crochet from the round before, and I chained 1 and then it was the triple crochet, chain 2, triple crochet. So again it's a chain 1, and into that same triple crochet I'll work a triple crochet. Then it's chain 1, skip the next stitch, and into the next one work a triple crochet. So the stitch pattern is chain 1, skip 1, triple crochet, chain 1, skip 1, triple crochet. Continue to the next stitch marker. I'm at the second stitch marker and I've continued with the pattern, the chain 1, skip 1, triple crochet, and you see that I've worked that triple crochet into the stitch just before the chain 2. So then it's chain 1, and into that chain 2 space it's a triple crochet, chain 2, triple crochet, replacing the stitch marker into that chain 2 space. Then it's a chain 1 and into that same triple crochet after the chain 2 space, just as I had done with this triple crochet before the chain 2 space. I'll chain 1 and I'll triple crochet directly into that stitch. Then it's continue with the pattern, chain 1, skip 1 stitch, triple crochet. So at the remaining stitch markers, you'll triple crochet into the stitch just before the chain 2. Then it's a chain 1, triple crochet, chain 2, triple crochet, chain 1, a triple crochet into the stitch just after the chain 2 space, and in between work the chain 1, skip 1, triple crochet to the end of the round. I've completed round 5 by slip stitching into the 4th chain from chain 5 to join. I continued with the pattern working to round 15. Round 6 to round 14 was a repeat of round 3, round 4 and round 5. Round 15 was a repeat of round 3. We'll now separate the front body, back body and armhole spaces. To do that, I've placed the yoke flat with the chain 2 spaces, the pattern running along the center front, the center back and along the sides of the yoke. So to mark off the armhole spaces, I've counted 28 triple crochets and I've marked off the 28th stitch with a stitch marker. So I've started counting from that first chain triple crochet after the chain 2 space. That would be the one that's on the along the side of the yoke. So from that chain 2 space, that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 2, 4, 6, 8, and into that 28th stitch I've placed a stitch marker. So on the other side of the chain 2 space, I've counted 28 triple crochets and placed another stitch marker into that stitch, and that gives me the first armhole space. I'll do the same on the other side, counting the 28 stitches from the chain 2 space, marking it off with a stitch marker, and on the other side 28 stitches, marking that off with a stitch marker. We then have the 2 armhole spaces, and in between the front body and the back body. Round 16 is a repeat of round 4. I chained 4, turned and triple crocheted to the first stitch marker. See that I've triple crocheted into that stitch marked by the first stitch marker. Then it's chain 3 and I'll join to the second stitch marker by working a triple crochet into that stitch marked by the second stitch marker. At the same time, while joining, make sure that this armhole space faces in your direction. So then into that second stitch marker, I'll triple crochet into that stitch. Then continue with triple crochets to the next or the third stitch marker. I've worked my way to the third stitch marker. Notice also I've continued with the pattern along the center front of the piece where I triple crocheted, chain 2, triple crocheted. So at the third stitch marker, I've worked a triple crochet into that stitch. Then it's chain 3 and join to the fourth stitch marker. Make sure again that this armhole space faces towards you, and join with a triple crochet into that stitch marked by the fourth stitch marker. Continue with the pattern to the end. I completed round 16 by slip stitching into chain 4 to join. Notice also that I continued with the chain 2s that runs along the center front and center back. Round 17 was a repeat of round 5 where I chained 5, turned, chain 5 counts as a triple crochet and chain 1. Thereafter, I skipped 1, triple crocheted, and the pattern was chain 1, skip 1, triple crochet. At the chain 3 that I worked under the arm, I continued with the pattern, working a chain 1, skipping the first chain, a triple crochet into the second chain, a chain 1, skipping the third chain, and continuing with the pattern. Again, with the chain 2 pattern that runs along the center front and center back, I continued with the pattern. So it was a triple crochet, chain 2, triple crochet. And of course, you can replace the stitch markers into those chain 2 spaces. I continued on with round 18, 19 and round 20. Round 18 was a repeat of round 3, round 19 a repeat of round 4, and round 20 a repeat of round 5. For a longer length on the top, continue to repeat round 4, round 5 and round 6. I then fastened off and cut off the excess yarn. I also weaved in all the ends. Moving on to the fringe or to the tassel part of the top. I've prepared lengths of yarn, and this measures around 55 centimeters or almost 22 inches in length. You can make it shorter or longer as you wish. So we'll be working with 2 strands of yarn at a time. You can fold it in half. I'll just set that aside. I find it easier working with the top facing in your direction. As it's laid here, and I've got my yarn here, so I'll be working these tassels or the fringe into each stitch. Or you can place your hook into the stitch, and with the 2 strands of yarn folded in half, pull it through that stitch. Then making sure that the edges are of the same length on the yarn, hold the yarn and get it through the loop that we've created. and just tighten it there. So for the next stitch, so you'll continue with the fringe, working those 2 strands of yarn into each stitch along the edge of the top, bottom edge of the top. So I'll continue off camera, but once that's done, the top is complete.